So we got the 187 spoilers, and this chapter is really exciting, especially because we were coming off of an already exciting chapter in 186 where we saw Hikari taking on Kashimo, and that's continuing in this one for sure, but we're also getting more developments on Kashimo himself and also Ryu. Yeah, but let's get into it. So initially in the chapter, Kashimo understands the rules of Hikari's domain on its activation. So yeah, we knew that this is one of the dynamics of Hikari's domain expansion because as soon as he activated it on Charles a couple chapters back, it said that the rules and the explanation of his domain expansion flooded Charles's mind. So Kashimo is getting that exposition dump. Like I said before, Kashimo is like way more competent than Charles, so this probably won't be too much of a problem for him. I mean, he's not going to understand all of the contemporary concepts of Hikari's domain expansion, but like the dynamics and the fundamentals of it, I'm sure he'll get. Hajime tries to attack Hikari, but he overcomes it and wins the jackpot. Okay, so he's getting the jackpot again. In the previous chapter, we saw that when Hikari showed up, you know, saving Panda from Kashimo, he was already like in jackpot mode because he had achieved it against Charles at the end of their fight. It pretty much gave him infinite cursed energy, which is as crazy as it sounds. And one of the aspects of it was that it just gives him perpetual reverse curse technique. So he's kind of become like a DBZ character where he has this crazy aura and he can also just regenerate from fatal wounds. We also saw in the previous chapter that it had eventually run out and Kashimo noticed that, but as soon as it did run out, Hikari activated his domain expansion again, and that brings us to what we were talking about previously. Already, he's hitting the jackpot again. Hikari gains 4 minutes and 11 seconds of immortality. There was no change since it was an even pattern jackpot. Okay, so that's interesting. So first of all, the 4 minute and 11 seconds was the time limit. That's why it had run out in the previous chapter, because it activated against Charles, and by the time he made it to where Kashimo and Panda was and fighting against them, the time had run out. But he's getting it here again, and I guess the stipulation for him to get the infinite cursed energy jackpot was for the pattern to be even, because as we saw when he got the jackpot against Charles, it was like triple threes. So I guess that counts as an even pattern, although I assume that getting the jackpot always required you to get a pattern regardless. Hey, also guys, if you like my Jujutsu Kaisen content, please subscribe if you haven't already. Some of you might not just want to, and that's fine, but maybe some of you just forget to, and if you need a reminder, here it is. Thank you. Kashimo thinks that if he overcomes the 4 minute and 11 seconds that he'll win. That's how small fries do. I'll kill the invulnerable B word in 4 minutes and 11 seconds. Okay, so this is great. Further making me like Kashimo because he's not trying to take the easy way out. Scene changes to 400 years ago. All right, here's where we're getting Kashimo's backstory. Finally, we're gonna get some insight into this guy. Kashimo, in his old age, is seen throwing up blood after a battle. He was later approached by Kenjaku. Totally makes sense. We knew that this was the case because this is the only way that he could have been involved in the culling game here and had the whole cursed object host thing set up, right? Kenjaku says to Kashimo that there is a man like a cannon who has the greatest cursed energy output in the Date clan from Matsu. Okay, so clearly he's talking about Ryu here. Ryu Ishigori, back from the Sendai colony arc, I guess you could call it. And the initial exposition that we got about him was that he had the greatest cursed energy output of all of the players. And also this is, fully confirming that he did in fact come from the same time as Kashimo, which we also talked about before, because we knew that Kashimo came from 400 years ago. That was like the specific time that we got on him. But with Ryu, it was slightly more subtle, because in his final moments in his fight with Akotsu, it said something like, and I'm paraphrasing, but 400 years of desire was expressed on his face or something, like as they were having like that final cursed energy blast showdown, which told us that like, okay, so Ryu is from 400 years ago. And then I started to discuss about how, that means that he comes from the same time as Kashimo. And Kashimo is all about having a worthy opponent and having like a big challenging fight. And I was thinking like, why didn't he just fight Ryu back in the day? And then I also thought, well, the world is a big place. It's possible that they just weren't in the same place at the same time. And it turns out that that's pretty much the case, because going further, Kashimo says Matsu, the location apparently where Ryu is from, is far. So that's it. That's why Kashimo and Ryu didn't run into each other, because they were just too far away. Anyway, after Kashimo says Matsu is far, he asks Kenjaku, like, who's the strongest jujutsu sorcerer that you know? And Kenjaku says Sukuna. I'm sorry to say, but it was 600 years ago. And that's understandable, because Kashimo 400 years ago, and we know that Sukuna was in his prime 1,000 years ago in the Heian era, so, you know, it would be 600 years even before that. After revealing that Sukuna was the most powerful sorcerer he knew, but that was 600 years ago, Kenjaku offers a non-negotiable contract. After Kashimo accepts it, Kenjaku says, then you will be able to fight Sukuna. So, that's pretty wild, right? This is like what we've been speculating and talking about for a while now, like since Kashimo was revealed essentially. And it's like playing out word for word here. It's pretty interesting to see it finally happen. So yeah, this is it. This is why Kashimo is interested in Sukuna this whole time. It's just because he was promised by Kenjaku that he would be able to fight him. But yeah, those were Miyamura spoilers. But let's see what Duckies says in case we missed anything. So Kashimo attacks Akari, which does fatal damage. Still, he is just able to recover right away. So yeah, we knew that because of the whole him hitting the jackpot again with his infinite cursed energy and it giving him perpetual reverse curse technique. Hikari says that he owes this one to Panda and attacks Kashimo pretty badly. Kashimo starts puking up blood and gets really pissed and uses his domain expansion right away. Okay, so that's something that wasn't told to us. I'm not sure if this is happening at the end of the chapter or maybe after he starts puking up blood. That's when he goes into his flashback, because that kind of lines up with old man Kashimo puking up blood. And then I guess when he comes back from the flashback, he activates his domain expansion. Maybe, maybe not, or maybe we just straight up see it in this chapter. Also, let me make a correction as to what I talked about in my previous review. I said that we haven't seen Kashimo's curse technique yet, and as I was rereading chapter 186, I guess we actually have seen it, because on the 6th page of that chapter, Kashimo says, when he's like explaining his cursed energy trait, he says, combining my trait and curse technique effect makes it difficult to defend with a simple physical reinforcement through cursed energy. So I guess his curse technique is the transfer of the charges, like the positive and the negative thing that we were talking about, like how he can give you a positive charge and then the negative that's built up within him can attract to each other and he shoots like a lightning bolt at you. Maybe that's it. So it's possible that his domain expansion is like lightning based as well, and it's not just exclusive to his cursed energy trait. Not really sure, but you know, we'll probably find out in this chapter. Let me know what you think about this one in the comments, and if you liked it, guys, please give it a like and please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day. I'll see you in the next one.